Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from downtown Baton Rouge. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from our studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. It means we're brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Jacob back, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Lots to do. Glen West, as always, at 1:30. Senior writer for Go 24/7 Talking Tigers. The Saints have hired a familiar face into the front office. We'll talk about that at the end of the hour. Colin Jeter, former LSU tight end, who's now with the LSU Alumni Association, will be with us at 2 o'clock, talking some football, and Sharief Aishak talking about the Saints as they get ready for the Cardinals coming up on Sunday in the Dome. So lots and lots to do. Let's crank it up the same way we do every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Well, you know, in college football, not every week is a monster game, right? Some weeks are. If you're in the SEC, you're playing for championships. A lot of weeks are. Some weeks are not. And LSU plays Louisiana Tech this week. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on a deep dive on Sonny Cumbie's squad. We'll talk a little bit about it as the week moves on. But sometimes in these weeks, people get to talking. And when they get to talking, we get to listening, creates some stir on the internet, and that becomes the topic of conversation. And that's what it's going to be today. Dabo Sweeney took to the microphone in review of Clemson's loss, leading up to not the most important game on their schedule here. And he had this to say about LSU and Clemson back on Saturday. And then after we hear from Dabo Sweeney, we'll hear Brian Kelly's retort to it. And that's what's going to ruffle the most fellers on the internet. But this is what Dabo Sweeney had to say about Saturday night's contest.
I mean, if we make the first tackle, I mean, Wade's got the guy. He's got, I mean, I don't even know how his knee didn't go down, but he, you know, without that run, I mean, like I said, the last 58 minutes is 2.8. And that is a physical group. It's a very smart quarterback, and that is a back. So they're going to be a problem. And they got some explosive dudes, and it was a hell of a game. It was a hell of a game down to the last play, right out of the gate. It's like getting the final exam day one of class. They made a 65, we made a 58. Neither one of us were great. I mean, if we'd have made.
So that's what Dabo has to say. And look, I don't completely disagree with the entire premise of it. I did feel like it was a pretty competitive game between two good teams. I think Clemson's good. I think LSU's good. I think LSU was much the better team. And I think that was reflected on the scoreboard. I said this yesterday. I think if they go back and play that game again tomorrow, that LSU wins the game. And it is, in a way, like kind of getting the final exam on the first day of class. Like, you don't have time to ramp up to this deal. It's go. And I can make the case that was the toughest game on Clemson's schedule, and I can make the case that's the toughest game on LSU's schedule. So in that way, he's right. As far as giving failing grades to both teams, you know, that's a subjective thing. And he knows a lot more about what went on that field on Saturday night than I do. He's watched the tape a lot of times. I have not. And he's got a better football mind than I do. So I can't tell you that he's wrong, but I would quibble with the grading. I think LSU's grade was a little bit better than a 64, 68 or whatever he gave LSU. I think that you look at the way that LSU's defense played against an offensive line that's that veteran, against wide receivers that explosive, against a quarterback that's that talented with that much experience in that stadium, and you shut them out in the second half, I would suggest that's a pretty strong effort by LSU's defense that I wouldn't necessarily categorize as a failing grade. Was LSU's offense great? No. But you had a quarterback, as he mentioned, that was in control, got LSU into the right plays, didn't put the ball in harm's way, converted some third downs, made the play to Trey Green. I thought LSU did pretty well on offense as well against a really good Clemson defense. So is there probably an element of sour grapes to Dabo giving both teams a failing grade for Saturday night? Yeah, I think that's fair to say. You watch his demeanor on the sideline. You watch the aw shucks nature that he generally has when he's up there on the podium. And I think there's some sour grapes involved in that. But again, I think the premise of what he was saying before he got to the grades thing was probably pretty fair. And then Brian Kelly was told about said grades that were issued by Dabo Sweeney. And this is what he had to say today in front of the microphone. And this is probably going to get the internet into a tizzy.
We dominated him in the second half. So he's either a really good grader for, giving himself a 58, or he's a really hard grader on us, or he didn't see the second half, which that might be the case. He might not have wanted to see the second half. So, again, look, this is all like, past. We dominated.
Look, we dominated him in the second half. Maybe he didn't want to see the second half. That's what the internet's going to run with, right? But I kind of agree with Brian Kelly's point as well, as I laid out there. Like, I think LSU deserves a little bit better grade than that. And he's going ifs and buts with, well, if we make the tackle, then, it's 58 minutes and all that kind of stuff he's talking about. It's a 10-10 game. Well, I could say the same thing if LSU doesn't fumble the football and Clemson run it down for a field goal, or if LSU with three guys stops Randall at the goal line on that fourth down where they tackled it, they had him at the 2, or Clemson doesn't score any points.
Or if it catches a touchdown, which it should have been.
Well, Barry Brown's catches the touchdown. So there's lots of ifs and buts you can tap dance around over the course of that game. But I think, to my point from yesterday, and then to reiterate it here, like, LSU's a better team on Saturday. So whether or not Dabo wants to give LSU 64 or 94, it doesn't really matter. And the fact of the matter is that LSU did win the game. I will be completely candid with you and not fly off the handle and do sports talk radio guy goes nuts thing. Like, this stuff doesn't really interest me that much. I don't care what the two coaches quibble back and forth with on the microphones with the game in the rearview mirror. You can talk about LSU's mindset and all the things that they did leading up to the game with the 1-0 stuff and say it's a really good thing or it's a really bad thing. Doesn't matter. Just go play. You can talk about what the coaches have to say after the game. Doesn't really matter. The results decided. The internet is going to go nuts with this. The internet is probably going to take, my assumption is going to take Brian Kelly's side on this because his team won the game. That's the most important thing. You're going to see quibbling from the Clemson side of things. I saw Fax and Childress, who we had on this show. I went on his show twice leading up to the game, saying that, Dabo Sweeney's a much more accomplished coach and that Brian Kelly thinks he runs college football with this. I don't see it as some sort of a big deal. It's easier to talk a little bit with the W in your back pocket, and Brian Kelly's got that. But again, this is something that I don't think would get much traction if LSU was playing Alabama this week or if LSU was playing Texas A&M this week. Instead, LSU's playing Louisiana Tech. So here we are referencing it because I feel like it would be a derelict of duty not to mention these two coaches and Brian Kelly suggesting that Dabo Sweeney missed with his grades, because that's something I think you, the LSU fan, are going to be interested in. We'll have a story up on LouisianaSports.net, and you can listen to it here. Again, my entirety of the take on this is it sounds like sour grapes from Dabo. It was probably a shot that Brian Kelly didn't need to fire, and ultimately it's not going to matter. Will this be brought back up next August? Yes. If LSU and Clemson play in the college football playoff, is ESPN going to play that clip? Yes. Is it going to generate a ton of impressions on Twitter in the next 3 hours? Yes. Does it matter at all to me? No. I would personally suggest that LSU played a really good football team. I think they proved themselves to be a contender nationally with that game. It doesn't mean that you're in the college football playoff. You got a lot of work to do on a really tough schedule to get there. But it was a far better than a failing grade for LSU on Saturday night. In fact, I think it was a passing grade. And for the defense, I would suggest it was well into the A range over the course of the game. That's without watching the tape 40 times. That's without checking out the All-22 cut up. That's just watching the game, looking at the stat sheet, and talking about it here. I think LSU did a pretty good job. Dabo sour grapes a little bit. Yeah, Brian Kelly probably didn't need to do that. Yeah, I'm going to leave that in the rearview mirror at this point. The housekeeping that came out of today as far as Brian Kelly's press conference went, Destin Hill, wide receiver, Florida State transfer, only played 2 snaps in the game on Saturday. He broke his left hand. That, to me, you say wide receiver, broken hand, I'm thinking that's 6-8 weeks because, well, you kind of need your hands to catch the ball and to block, the 2 things that wide receivers do. I'm wrong. Brian Kelly said today that they had a procedure yesterday on the left hand. They put a plate in it that stabilized the hand. He will miss this week for Louisiana Tech, but should be able to go out there in a limited capacity next week. So sounds like, by the time LSU plays Southeastern, I wouldn't suggest Destin Hill is going to be a big factor in the game against Florida next week. 1, he was a second-team, third-team player. 2, he's coming off a broken hand. You've got a lot of wide receivers that need their opportunity to play, so I doubt he's a big factor in the game against Florida. But the next week against Southeastern, you would imagine Destin Hill very much could factor into that game as it gets well out of hand probably in the second quarter. So bad news that Destin Hill's got a broken hand. Good news that it appears he can return pretty quickly based on the procedure that he had. So that was really the only significant injury issue that LSU had. You certainly had Davian Ramos cramp up, which when he missed that field goal, cramped up. It was an ugly-looking kick. He should be fine. Came back and kicked the extra point on the touchdown there. So no significant injury issues to this point for LSU as they get ready for Louisiana Tech coming up on Saturday. So that's a look at the highlights of the Brian Kelly press conference. Now we'll move on into the rest of the show. Got a lot to get to over the course of the next hour and 45 minutes or so. Glen West going to be with us coming up in about 20 minutes. When we come back, let's talk about LSU's offensive line. We talked about it all August, and we didn't talk a lot about it yesterday because there were a lot of things I wanted to get to. I'll give you my thoughts as well as the Pro Football Focus grades on LSU's offensive front when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit louisianapropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Tuesday shows brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. Daryl specializes in land, in property. If you're looking for hunting property as the season approaches, Daryl May. If you're looking for second home out of the hustle and bustle, Daryl May. If you're looking for agriculture, Daryl May. Whether that's in the Felicianas, Point Capee, up in Woodville, Mississippi, up to Natchez, wherever you're looking for that property, Daryl May can help you out with Trustee Properties. It's a name you can trust. All right, I want to talk about LSU's offensive line. It stands to reason I would do that because we spent all of August talking about LSU's offensive line. And all the discussion was, how's that group going to handle Clemson in the first game? TJ Parker. How are they going to block this guy? 11 sacks. Top 10 pick. Like, how are you going to handle that guy? Look at what they brought back in the middle of that defensive front. Like, it's dudes. How is a completely new unit going to handle that? And I wouldn't suggest LSU dominated at the line of scrimmage. I think that would be a little bit bold. But they held their own. 1 sack, 2 pressures. Nussmeier had some time to operate. I thought the offensive line acquitted itself nicely. Now, Pro Football Focus knows a little bit more about this than me, and they're certainly going to put an objective grade on everybody. And I was interested to see kind of what that looked like now that the dust has settled. Now, Braylon Moore got SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. And his grade reflected that, especially in pass protection. He graded an 85.8 in pass blocking. Again, I feel like with a new season, I need to kind of be specific here. An 85.8 is an exceptional grade. If you grade out in the 70s, that's a good day of work, no matter what you're doing. 80s is elite. You never see grades in the 90s. It rarely happens. So an 85.8 is an exceptional mark as far as pass protection goes. He was in pass protection 43 snaps, did not allow a sack, did not allow a pressure, did not allow a hurry, did not have a penalty. He was great as your anchor in the middle, and that's a huge deal for LSU. For LSU's offense to be good, Braylon Moore is going to have a great year, and he had a great first game in pass protection. Josh Thompson and Paul Mabenga next to him at guard in pass protection, exceptional. 84 for Thompson, 81 for Mabenga. That is great stuff from those guys. That is the middle of your offensive line. That is your offensive line interior getting the job done. If your tackles get beat from time to time, 1, that pressure takes longer to get to you off the edge than it does right up the gut. And 2, Garrett Nussmeier can see that coming and make an adjustment to it. Nussmeier is not the fastest dude on the field, but he does have great pocket awareness and the ability to get rid of the football far more often than not. That's why he did not take, it's part of the reason he did not take many sacks last year. He had a great offensive line at pass blocking in front of him, but he also gets rid of the ball very, very quickly. Brian Kelly talked about it today. His average release time was about 2.5 seconds on Saturday night. That's great stuff. There was a statistic that ESPN's Advanced Analytics did last year. This was sometime in late October, I remember doing the show, where Garrett Nussmeier was the second fastest release in the Southeastern Conference. Like, he gets the ball out very, very quickly. He can see when some pressure is coming. What you cannot avoid, what you cannot deal with, what you cannot play through is pressure coming up the gut. If you get beat at center and guard in pass rush consistently, you cannot operate an offense. And LSU's three guys in the middle all graded over an 80 in pass protection. That is excellent, excellent work. Now, you look at the tackles, and they didn't have as good a day according to PFF. Tyree Adams at left tackle, 66.4, and then Weston Davis at right tackle, 58.6. Weston Davis was credited with 3 hurries allowed in the game. So it was not a great day for the tackles, but again, as I mentioned, you got to get better at that, clearly, and I think Tyree Adams and Weston Davis, who were starting their first season opener as a tackle, Weston Davis making his first start as a Tiger, like, that is a tough assignment, and they'll get better. But when those guys falter, Nussmeier can adjust to that. There's just not a lot of adjusting you can do when a nose or a linebacker comes up the A-gap and right in your lap. So, to me, their ability in pass rush and their performance in pass rush was excellent in the game on Saturday. Now, on the run blocking side of things, the grades were not as pretty, and that's to be expected. Braylon Moore led the way here with a 67.8. Then you had Josh Thompson with a 53.1, Mabinga 46. Then you had Tyree Adams 60.4 and Weston Davis 48.1. All of those grades are pretty pedestrian to poor with Weston Davis. And look, it's a tough ask. That's a talented defensive front. But even with those grades, LSU still stuck with the run, ran it 31 times, and found some success. What you have in Caden Durham is a back who is capable of making the first guy miss. You saw that on the first snap of the game on Saturday when LSU handed him the ball. Clemson got pressure up the middle. He broke the tackle, put his hand on the ground, bounced to the outside, and ran for about 25 yards. You've got a guy that is capable of that. In the game against South Carolina, where he kind of won the job last year, he forced 7 missed tackles, which is a huge number. So you've got a guy that, even when you get beat on the offensive line, can sometimes make something out of nothing. These guys have to improve. They've got to be better in the ground game. But what LSU can do is help them. Help them by staying committed to the run. Help them by being creative in the run game. You saw that with Xavier Thomas coming back there and motioning into the backfield and taking a handoff. You're going to see some of that with Juwan Johnson. And you saw Nussmeier being a little bit creative in the way that he wasn't last year. I use creative kind of loosely here. But he was able to pull the ball and run off right tackle and go get 10 yards for you. And you ran for over 100 yards. So, again, you got to get better. And they'll face weaker defensive fronts than they saw on Saturday. But the offensive line, to me, gets a passing grade. Not to jump back into the Dabo segment from there, but gets a passing grade in this game. Now, you talked about the rotation that Brian Kelly kind of suggested you might see. Braylon Moore played all 75 snaps. Josh Thompson played all 75 snaps. Mabinga only played 63. You saw Cohen Eccles come in there for 12. He played the other 12. Tyree Adams played 71. He came out when he got hurt, and they moved Chester in at left tackle. And then you saw Weston Davis play all 75. So really the only substitution you saw was Cohen Eccles a little bit at left guard. You did not see Chester in unless there was an injury. You did not see the true freshman Carius Kern come in and play either. So a lot was made last week about, oh, well, they're going to rotate 7 guys. They're going to rotate 8 guys. They don't really have a set offensive line. You didn't really see that. You saw a little bit at left guard. Mabinga came out. Eccles came in. But for 63 of the 75 snaps, you saw the same 5 offensive line. There's one injury, brief timeout, And I will suggest this from that injury substitution that we saw with DJ Chester. Tyree Adams needs to stay healthy. That's something that needs to happen. I did a segment, wrote a story on LouisianaSports.net, most indispensable guys on the roster, and I went through 5 names. I would add Tyree Adams to that list now because that's not a guy you want coming out if you're going to put DJ Chester at left tackle. DJ Chester was a center last year. He's worked at left guard. I've never even seen him work at tackle, and he was the first offensive tackle brought in. It was not Carius Kern. It was not Ori Williams. It was DJ Chester. That's not what you want at left tackle. Chester is fine as a swing guy on the inside, not left tackle. So that's something to keep an eye on as the season moves forward. LSU needs Tyree Adams to stay healthy. I thought that the offensive line did a good job. You get a week this week where you're dealing with an outmanned opponent, and we'll see what they can do against a talented Florida team, but not as talented as Clemson. And if those guys continue to build, this is something I've harped on all of August, and I'm not moving off this at all. If LSU's offensive line plays well this year, they're going to be hard to beat. Not unbeatable. Not natty favorites, I would suggest. But they're going to be hard to beat if that offensive line plays well. And I thought they were on the right track on Saturday. Wasn't dominant. They held their own. The grades reflect that. The scoreboard reflected that. The flow of the game reflected that. I think kudos to all involved with the LSU offensive line. It was the biggest question we had all August entering that game, and they passed the test. Good on them on Saturday night. All right, our LSU content you can find at on YouTube, Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your podcast, Hunt on LSU. If you're just looking for the LSU stuff, not real jazzed up about hearing about the Saints or whatever else we may be talking about on a given day, you're just looking for your LSU stuff, you can get it. Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your podcast. Subscribe up to that channel. We certainly appreciate you all for helping us out with that. We got lots to do over the next 90 minutes. Colin Jeter is going to be with us in 35 minutes, former LSU tight end, now at the LSU Alumni Association, going to sit down with us every single Tuesday, talk some ball. So looking forward to that conversation. We'll have Sharief Aishak from down in New Orleans coming up at the bottom of hour number 2. When we come back, Glen West, senior writer, Go 24/7, talking Tigers next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Unfortunately, checked out the tropics today, and there's another disturbance that is potentially going to form over the next couple of days. No word on what that path might be, but you understand the risk living where we do this time of year. Hurricanes are inevitable. It's been a quiet season so far. We like that. Hopefully it stays that way. Won't stay that way forever. Make sure your property policy is ready to respond in a storm. It's not just the limit of your building, which is important. It's not just the deductible, which is important. What about your co-insurance penalties that you might be lined up for? What about any sort of exclusion? What about the types of deductible that you have, whether it's named storm, whether it's hail, wind? Check it out. If you don't know what you've got on your insurance program, you don't know how your property policy is going to respond, let the Highland Insurance Group look at it. Jonathan Carver and his team are phenomenal at making sure loose ends are tied up. That's how they've won clients. That's how they've kept clients. So if you're not sure what your property policy says and you're a business owner, have the people at the Highland Insurance Group audit it for free. They'll check it out. It's the Highland Insurance Group. They're right here in Baton Rouge. You can check them out online, HighlandIG.com. The Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, They cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, Ice Cubes.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Tuesday shows brought to you by Daryl May, Trustee Properties, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. Looking for a spot on the coast, past Christian, Mississippi, maybe? Daryl May can help you out with that. He's with Trustee Properties. All right, Glen West, senior writer over at Go 24/7, talking Tigers. He was there in Clemson, South Carolina. Good enough to give us a little bit of time here on this Tuesday. Glenn, how we doing?
Doing great, Hunt. Just happy to be talking to you after a week 1 win.
That's never happened before, has it? I mean,
I don't think so.
We weren't doing this in 2019, so yeah, I can promise you it has not happened. How was Clemson? How was the environment? How was the energy around campus? What'd you think?
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with the pregame atmosphere. They had kind of where the press was sitting. We were right behind the student section, so as you can imagine, those students were pretty riled up. I actually had a random student come up to me and give me a little pat on the head or something. It was weird. He kind of walked up, and you can tell he'd been having a few drinks and was feeling himself a little bit, talking up his Clemson Tigers. And credit to LSU, because about three drives in, the student section started getting pretty oddly quiet and a little bit nervous with the offense not being able to create much rhythm. And so LSU's defense really took, I think, the sails out of their pregame atmosphere away pretty quickly. And as we saw in the second half, really kind of stomped their feet and kind of clamped down on Clemson from both an offensive and defensive perspective.
Dabo, give LSU a 64. What do you grade the Tigers?
Man, if that's a 64, I can't wait to see what 100 looks like. I would probably give LSU closer to a 85. I mean, and that's, kind of weighing both offense and defense, because I do think that there's a lot of ways for which this offense can continue to improve. And I thought just kind of the game plans going in were so opposite, in terms of LSU's offense and their defense. I mean, really right from the start, Blake Baker and that defense just really said, we're going to pin our ears back and we're going to get after Cade Klubnik and we're going to make him throw the ball in pressure situations and make him beat us with his arm, because they completely eliminated the run game right from the start. And I thought the pressure that they created on the defensive side of the ball was consistent. and really, really strong. You could have given the game ball to 4 or 5 different guys on the defense, and I don't think you would have gone wrong either way. And then offensively, it was quite the opposite. It was a little bit more of a conservative game plan. They really wanted to pound the run game early, kind of stick with it. And I think that was really important that they stuck with it for 4 quarters. Obviously the passing game was a lot of short routes, a lot of short guys that short completions rather that LSU wanted to get to their pass catchers and just let them go make plays. And I thought that they did a really nice job of that. Obviously in the second half, you were able to overcome those 2 first half fumbles and not really let it affect you too much in the score as far as the score column goes. And it just had to feel really from the start of the third quarter that LSU was in control of that game and weren't going to let it get away from them.
How would you assess LSU's offensive line play? I'll just kind of leave it that open-ended.
Good. I mean, I thought it was better in the second half than the first half. I thought really the game plan here was to kind of take as much pressure off of those guys as possible early on, which is why I think you saw a lot of the screen passes, why you saw a lot of the quick decision-making from Garrett Nussmeier. We just got off our press conference with Brian Kelly here on Tuesday, and he talked about how important it was for Nuss to be a really exemplary game manager on Saturday, and said that was as good of a job as he's done in his 14 or 15 starts as a quarterback, and just managing the game and knowing what they wanted out of their game plan. And so I think it all started honestly with just the mindset coming in of how they were going to have success offensively. But I thought Braylon Moore had a really nice day. Obviously, gets the offensive lineman of the week. I thought Weston Davis held up really well at right tackle. Paul Mubanga, I think there was some decision going into it whether he would start or how many snaps they would rotate him and Cohen Eccles with. He played over 60 snaps, so he was pretty much your starting left guard the entire time. So certainly some areas where they can continue to improve. Clemson did get some pressure on Nussmeier, but I thought Nuss did a really nice job of recognizing the pressure when they did and was able to evade it. There was one pass in particular that I'm thinking of in the third quarter where he rolled out right and hit Kyle Parker over the middle of the field after evading some pressure. So I really think it's a complementary effort, right, when you're talking about the O-line play. And certainly there's room for improvement, but I thought those guys held up and did what they needed to do to win the game.
What does Aaron Anderson mean to this LSU offense?
Oh, I mean, he's clearly Nuss's go-to guy. Like whenever they're in a pinch or they need a big play, Nussmeier's looking his way. And clearly the second half that he had was a big reason why the offense was able to score 2 touchdowns and be pretty efficient overall. Just really electric speed guy that when he gets the ball in his hands, you don't really know where he's going to go or what can happen. I mean, he can turn a short little 4-yard pass from Nussmeier into a 40-yard gain down the field, and he's just a really precise route runner as well. And I just think there's a lot of built-in trust there with how much Nussmeier went to him in clutch situations last year. So he's obviously going to be a huge central piece to this thing. And, I think that as the season goes along, you'll see LSU get more vertical as well. And that should really open up what Anderson can do in the middle of the field in the slot. So really strong start for him. Obviously, with him missing some of that fall camp, you were curious of how he would look coming out of the gates, and certainly looked pretty strong in my eyes.
Matt asked him about Ashton Stamps today, who did not play on defense. And Brian Kelly said, look, we're going to play the guys that we think give us best chance to win. That's a little stunning to me that he didn't get on the field. What did you make of that, and kind of what do you think it means?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit surprising to me that he didn't get one single snap in that game. And he was the guy that really for the entire first 3 weeks the media was out there. Ashton Stamps was pretty glued to that first team opposite of Monsieur Delane. And so, it was definitely a decision that we needed to ask him about here on Tuesday. But look, I think when you look at the game and just how it played out and the 2 guys that were rotating in and out, opposite of Delane, I thought PJ Woodland and DJ Pickett had really nice performances. I think the best thing you can say about Pickett is that he played 25 snaps and you didn't even know he was out there. Like, he was just really consistent, really locked down. I think they targeted him once, and it was an incompletion. And so he did his job of holding up in that as a rotational piece. And then BJ Woodland obviously comes off the edge there and gets the big first drive sack, and really was kind of playing with a lot of energy and momentum throughout the entirety of the game. So it sounds like that's the 3-man group right now at cornerback. And judging by the results on Saturday, I don't know how you can't continue to lean into those guys full time going forward.
How good do you think this LSU defense is?
I think they have a chance to be pretty special. You don't want to get too caught up in the moment and start thinking about the top defenses that have ever played here at LSU. But I just find it just immensely impressive that for a group that I went back and I counted 10 players that were not on this roster last year that played significant snaps, was able to come together here in this first game and have such a clean performance. I mean, 0 penalties. They didn't allow a 10-yard rush from Clemson the entire night. Those were obviously 2 huge bugaboos with this defense in previous seasons. And so it just tells me they have really mature players, really veteran, experienced players here that have been able to gel together really quickly. And you never really know, right, when you go into the portal and you have such a massive overhaul with the defense or with any side of the ball, just how that's going to translate. But I think this group has shown that it can be one of the better defenses in the SEC. And usually when you're one of the better defenses in the conference, you're probably one of the better defenses in the country. So it's 1 week. I do want to see what this group looks like when DJ Lagway and company come to town here on September the 13th. But it's an A+ start, and they're well on their way to being one of the better defenses that I think we've seen here, certainly in recent memory.
What's a point or two of emphasis for this week with Louisiana Tech? What would you like to see on Saturday?
Stay healthy. I mean, just get out of there healthy and really glued into the game plan. I mean, I think for me, one of the biggest things I'd like to see is maybe the offense getting a little bit more vertical, maybe trying some different things with their O-line in terms of just protections and, I think everybody just having a little bit of a piece of the pie. Like, this is a game that LSU should win pretty handily, but just how many guys they're able to get onto the field and just the efficiency with which they're playing. You don't want to follow up a great performance like that with, kind of a mediocre, kind of just, walking through it kind of a performance. You want to continue to elevate yourself week in and week out. And that's been the theme of this team for ever since the beginning of fall camp, just focusing on that next opponent, going 1-0. And I think that's going to be their major focus and should lead to a pretty hefty result here on Saturday.
Looking for team coverage, recruiting coverage, you can find it Go 24/7. Glenn's the senior writer over there. Appreciate a little bit of time. We'll see you tomorrow at Play Interviews.
All right. Thanks, Hunt.
Glen West, senior writer at Go 24/7. I think you're going to see a pretty inspired LSU team on Saturday. I really do. It has been such a bummer to get ready for the home opener the last 4 years after a deflating loss away from home to open the season. Because there's nothing you can do against Southern or Grambling or Nichols that's going to make you feel any better about getting beat by UCLA or Florida State or USC. You can't. It's an FCS team. You're going to beat them by 50. There's nothing you can do to get rid of that bitter taste in your mouth from the opening loss against an outmanned opponent. Conversely, you win the game against Clemson, you come out and it's like a celebration. It's a welcoming home. It's a coronation of a great win against an outmanned opponent. Because it's going to be hot out there, and LSU's going to win the game by 40, and there's not that type of suspense doesn't exist with this, but it becomes a celebration, and that's the cool thing about Saturday. I'm really excited to get in the stadium and to watch them play without the big burden of whether or not you're going to run the season off the rails, which kind of felt like at this point last week. You need to go win this game, because if you don't, you're walking a high wire. For Clemson, it doesn't really matter because all they're trying to do is win the ACC. LSU's path to win the SEC is a lot more difficult than Clemson's path to win the ACC. There's a reason Clemson's won that league 4 out of 5 years. So it becomes really difficult to make the playoffs as an at-large. You lose that first game. LSU don't have to worry about that now. And you certainly don't have to worry about that with Louisiana Tech coming in here. So I think you're going to get an inspired effort from LSU in that type of environment. And then you strap it on and get ready for some conference ball coming up next week. Appreciate Glenn for giving us a little bit of time here on this Tuesday. We'll take time out. Saints made a very interesting hire that was announced today. We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Safety is a big issue, especially in the bathroom for folks that are aging. If there's someone in your life who you feel like might be in a hazardous situation in the bathroom, do what you can to mitigate that risk. Put in non-slip floors, put in handrails, put in walk-in tub, put in a shower with a bench, all these types of additions to a bathroom that can mitigate the risk of significant injury. You've never thought about that, but now you're thinking, oh, well, that might be a decent idea. Just call David and have him talk you through what that process looks like. Financing's available, 0% up to 18 months, same as cash. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them on the website, onebathandclosets.com, onebathandclosets.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. Louisiana.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Wrapping up hour number 1 here, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Colin Jeter will be along in 10 minutes, talk some football, former LSU tight end. The Saints made an interesting hire today. Thomas Deitrov, former general manager of the arch rival Atlanta Falcons, has been hired by the New Orleans Saints in a consulting role. I'm not here to suggest this is some sort of earth-shattering move that alters the course of the organization. I'm not going to oversell it. He's been brought in as another set of eyeballs. But I will say this. It's not going to hurt. You look at the way the Saints have been run for almost 2 decades, and it's been a lot of the same names and faces. In the way that the Saints operated, with Mickey Loomis at the top and Kai Harley right next to him, and they brought in Ireland to help with the draft, and you've had the Benson family as owners, and it's been a lot of the same folks at the top. And when Drew Brees was here and Sean Payton was here, the way that the Saints did business was successful. The way that they manipulated the salary cap, a lot of their drafting, the way they essentially built rosters with that pillar in the middle, with number 9 in the middle, it kind of worked. You had a great run, the best in the history of the franchise. Absolutely. But since then, kind of been a mess. And it's finally come to a wholesale reset, we believe. You look at the way this roster is constructed, and I think you're going to see the roster significantly different by the time the Saints had their next really good football team. But this group has not proven that it knows what to do without Sean Payton and Drew Brees. It hasn't. So to me, bringing in people from the outside to help move the organization forward without Payton and Brees is a good idea. Because I don't see anybody in that organization that I know knows how to get out of this. And you can say what you will about Thomas Dimitrov. He was fired from the Falcons, but they had a pretty damn good run while he was there for 12 years as the GM. His first draft pick ever was Matt Ryan, and they had a lot of success in the Matt Ryan era. They got to an NFC Championship game early on, just came up short against the Packers, then ultimately got to the Super Bowl. We know what happened there. It's fun to poke fun, 28-3, all that's great and dandy, but that was a damn good team that Thomas Dimitrov put together. Wasn't perfect, but this is an industry that chews up and spits out GMs, coaches, and quarterbacks. And Dimitrov stuck around for 12 years. Now, you can suggest that's Arthur Blank's fault. Whatever. It was a good run for the Falcons. That's a franchise with no history of success. Saints fans know that very well. It's fun to poke fun at. How many Super Bowls the Falcons got? Same as me. But he had a good run. He's a good football mind. He's been out of the game for 4 years, but he's been working with a hedge fund manager on this new sports analytics company, so he's very much been involved with football. And he's not coming in to overhaul the organization. If the Saints didn't hire a new general manager, but they brought a guy in from the outside who has built an organization from the ground up. And that's what the Saints are attempting to do. So again, I'm not here to oversell the hire and suggest that it's something that it's not. But I'm going to applaud the front office for going out and trying to add, to admit a fault and to go out and try to set another set of eyeballs to help get this thing moving in the right direction. I think it's a positive for the Saints to go ahead and do that. Trust me, we're now at the point where wins and losses stop happening. All the stuff that we've done from December to now with a quarterback retiring and a new coach being brought in and a quarterback being drafted and a quarterback competition and all the front office, the moves they've made and all the things that they've done in free agency, like all that is subjective. You can say it's positive, you can say it's negative, it's all just conjecture. Wins and losses are impossible to argue against. And that's going to start happening here on Sunday, and we all believe that it's going to be far more losses than wins. I saw Pro Football Talk came up with their power rankings in the NFL. The Saints were dead last. So that's what's coming. Any opportunity right now to sprinkle some positivity towards things as we get to the top of the season, I'm here for. And I think that bringing Thomas Dimitrov in is a positive for the Saints organization. What the impact is, that's impossible for me to tell. I'm not even sure what the role is. It's a consultant. But again, I welcome outside voices because of my lack of confidence in the executives that have gotten the Saints to this point right now. Thomas Dimitroff, pretty accomplished guy, been in the NFC South, had some success. Bring him in. See what his eyeballs tell the New Orleans brass about where they need to go from here. I think it's a good thing for the Saints. Thomas Dimitroff brought in as a consultant for the Black and Gold in New Orleans. Saints and Cardinals coming up on Sunday at noon. If you're looking for Saints content, you can find ours at Hunt on Saints on YouTube, wherever you find your podcast. Subscribe up to it. Looking for Saints content every single day. We got you covered. Hunt on Saints. That's the fast-moving first hour. Top of the show, talked about Brian Kelly and Dabo Sweeney tossing shots at one another. Dabo's throwing out grades, giving LSU a failing grade for Saturday. Brian Kelly didn't much care for that, so he fired back. Talked about that at the top of the show. Also talked about LSU's offensive line play back on Saturday. The Pro Football Focus grade suggests LSU did okay. Point of attack, I talked about it. You can find that at Hunt on LSU. And Glen West was with us. We're going to pause for Sports Center, get you some national headlines on this Tuesday. When we come back, LSU former tight end and now with the Alumni Association, Colin Jeter, jumps aboard for his weekly chat.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. It's no fun to stand out in the heat in the summer in Baton Rouge. And it's still the summer. I know Labor Day is in the rearview mirror, but it's the summer. And when you purchase a new vehicle, one of the cool things about purchasing it, you go check out all the features, check out all the bells and whistles, get walked through all the safety features, all the entertainment options. And they do that for you at Genesis of Baton Rouge, but you don't have to stand in the heat to do it, because they think about details there at Genesis of Baton Rouge. So they've got a climate-controlled room in the showroom. They wheel your vehicle right in there. So while you're walking through all those awesome features of your brand new Genesis, you do so in the comfort of the air conditioning. It's things like that that separate Genesis from other dealers out there. It's a luxury brand. It's a luxury experience. It's a reasonable price. Get on by and see them. Airline at Piku. They're across from Women's Hospital. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online. GenesisofBatonRouge.com. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
family-owned and community-driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. With Sunday's season opener against the Lions looming, new Packers pass rusher Micah Parsons is doing everything he can possibly do to get on the football field, according to his agent, David Mulligetta. He's gotten anti-inflammatories, could require additional treatment to play. Parsons limited in practice yesterday, likely more a full go tomorrow and Thursday. ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter.
I can't imagine he is going to get traded to Green Bay. They're going to be playing the Detroit Lions. He will have just signed his $8,800 million contract, and he's not going to play. Like, that's hard for me to imagine. So however it is, I expect him to be out there, but we'll see how that plays out.
Adam Schefter on Unsportsmanlike. Despite Steelers defensive lineman Cam Hayward's limited participation this summer amid a contract stalemate, Coach Mike Tomlin anticipates he'll play in Week 1 against the Jets. Hayward, though, said earlier today on his podcast, quote, "We'll see," end quote, when asked if he'll play Sunday. Giants listing rookie Jackson Dart as their number 2 quarterback behind starter Russell Wilson on their first unofficial depth chart of the regular season.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Wednesday, we asked Mel Kiper Jr. if anything he saw this weekend from Arch Manning concerned him when he joins us at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from downtown Baton Rouge. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. We'll chat with Sharief Aishak coming up in 30 minutes about the New Orleans Saints, but very fired up for this segment. We're going to do it every single Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Welcome in former Tiger, now Director of Development with the LSU Alumni Association, Colin Jeter. He's here in studio with us. Colin, how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Tigers won this weekend, so really good.
They did. Everybody around here. It's just it's a whole different vibe in this whole city when the Tigers get to rolling, and Saturday was certainly an awesome start. So let's talk about what you're doing with LSU, and then we'll get into talking a little bit of ball. But obviously played for the Tigers and now doing a little bit of role in the administrative role.
Yeah, it's been good to be back. You know, I've been there about a year now, working Director of Development for the Alumni Association, so it's good to be back at Purple and Gold. Just really feels great to be connected. Our latest push, we're doing the business network, you know, really trying to connect Tigers together through business, networking, everything else. We just want to make sure that Tiger fans, alumni, really the whole brand of LSU is rallying behind those Tiger businesses.
How was the trip to Clemson? I know you were there, and it sounds like a pretty good contingent of LSU fans went.
It was great. You know, the town was great. The stadium looked great from a mile high. They put us way up top, but it was tough to judge the sound of the stadium being so high. I will say they're about 20,000 short if they want to compare the Death Valleys. But a fun environment and a great place to win. I thought it was a great kickoff to our team. Obviously, we end that 0-5 streak that everyone was so miserable about. But, man, I'm excited about the team this year.
I think a lot of people are. And it was interesting. We go to practice, and Brian Kelly allows us to have so much access, more than just about anybody I know of folks that cover major college football. And a lot of the stuff that we saw all August, we saw on Saturday. And I was really high on the defense. I know a lot of folks were high on the defense. Some suggested, hey, maybe that just means the offense isn't very good if the defense is dominating every single day. Acquitted themselves pretty nicely on Saturday. What did you see from the LSU defense?
I saw the same. I mean, you talk about guys flying around. Linebackers are outstanding. D-line was, I think, set the tone up front. And, of course, now we've got these guys. You got the transfer from Houston, transfer from Virginia Tech. We got guys on the back end that can really hold up. Kind of allowed us to have a little bit more freedom, throw some exotic blitzes at it. Blake Baker, to me, I think he's going to be a top candidate to be a head coach one day. But it's just been – it was a fun game to watch, and I love the aggressiveness and just seeing those guys fly around.
A lot was made about LSU's ability to cover in the game, and they haven't had that the last few years. I gave the stat a bunch of times pregame. LSU allowed Miller Moss of USC and Jordan Travis of Florida State to complete 75% of their throws in those two openers. And if you can't cover, it just compromises what you can do defensively. They covered, and that allowed them to win with numbers up front and bring a lot of blitzes, which is what Blake Baker wants to do. When you were watching LSU kind of deploy those blitz packages, I mean, what did it look like from inside the stadium?
It just was like ruthless aggression, man. That, like I said, to have on the back end, you got Corey Raymond back in the house. Feels like DBU's back. I mean, it reminded me when I played. We had Jamal Adams, Tre'Davious White, all these guys in the backfield. So that it just offers you so much to do when you know you can cover on the back end. You can get a little bit more exotic. We had the Weeks brothers crossing.
Yep.
Perkins comes around, especially on that fourth down to end the game. They threw a blitz where he kind of got to work the edge of the line. And I'm not in the meeting room, so it feels like we did a great job of scheming. We knew Klubnik was going to roll out right a lot when there was pressure, and we had Perkins right there for it. So just great game plan.
He's something to watch when he gets that heat-seeking missile going on a quarterback and starts coming downhill. It reminds me of his freshman year against Bryce Young. Everybody remembers the Arkansas game, but I remember the Alabama game as well. And he looked healthy for sure on Saturday.
Yeah, he looks great. I think the star position is a great fit for him. I feel like it took us a year or two to figure out what would be that best position, and this feels right. So I'm looking forward to Perk the rest of the year.
All right, let's talk about the offense. You played offense. You played tight end. LSU's got a bit of a matchup advantage in Trey'Nez Green. What did you see from him? I'll leave it to you first, and then we'll kind of drill deeper on it. But what did you see from him? Obviously, he has the one touchdown catch, but the impact he can have is going to be pretty significant.
He is unbelievable to me. I mean, to be as big and tall and athletic and can run and jump. I mean, you could build an offense just throwing jump balls to him all game. I think that's what they did at Zachary High School back in the day. But, man, he's a freak of nature. And then you got so many guys you can throw the ball to. I mean, I was looking at the depth chart earlier. I feel like we got 8 guys we can really trust to get the ball out to. And Sloan threw some exotic plays at him, kind of did some distractive screens coming across the middle. We found ways. I think our offensive line is going to gel as the year goes on, but obviously it's a new squad. So we found ways to get the ball out left and right, kind of almost turned that into the run game. I just thought it was a great game plan. But that dude, he's unbelievable. I'm looking forward to having him at least another year.
Yeah, so they did this a lot. This is not something that's just going to be one wrinkle. They're going to continue to stick with it. But they put 4 receivers on one side and put Trey'Nez on the other. Said, okay, what are you going to do? And Clemson put their number 1 corner, Avion Terrell, who's probably going to be a first-round pick. And then Nussmeier just threw a jump ball and he went up and boxed him out and caught it. What should a defensive coordinator do in that situation when LSU comes out with that plan?
You're going to have to do it. You ever seen that picture of Megatron against the Saints back in the day? Just put 2 or 3 guys on the line. That's all you can do. I mean, you got to decide you're just going to give up numbers on the other side because he's just so big and could jump. I saw Jacques Doucet posted a video of him pregame, and it looked like he got like a 50-inch vertical going up to catch a ball. So, man, he can just do so much. He's such a weapon, and as the year goes on, we're going to find so many creative ways to get him the ball. I'm excited.
Back in your day, LSU wasn't afraid to run the ball. LSU got away from that the last couple of years. It was a lot of throwing it. They stuck with the run on Saturday. What did you see from LSU's run game?
I loved it. Again, we got creative. We found ways to do different orbit motions, things, kind of get the defense moving around. But it seemed like last year I felt like we kind of gave up on the run a lot. This year, it's at least in this game, felt like that was a point of emphasis to really get the ball moving. And you got Durham in the back. You got number 8 Johnson.
Juwan Johnson.
Juwan Johnson. You got him as kind of a do-it-all guy. Plenty of guys to get the ball to, but the line did enough where they got movement. We had great kick-out blocks on when we were running power schemes. We got great movement on zone schemes. We did a lot. We got creative in ways to find holes, and man, Durham felt like he had a few runs where he busted through some tackles and made some plays. He's
the key here because I don't think it's reasonable to expect LSU's offensive line to dominate this year, but that doesn't mean they can't be really good. And when they don't dominate, like Caden Durham can break some tackles. The first play of the game.
Yeah.
Clemson comes free, shook a guy 25 yards. Like he's the X factor to me. What'd you see from him?
I agree. And that first play, I was going to say, that felt like such a tone setter as opposed to last year. Last year felt like we'd gotten hit for a 1-yard gain or maybe lost, but for him to break that and take off 20 on the first play, I was like, okay, all right, well let's see what we can do run game. So he's outstanding. He feels like a little bowling ball of a running back. Reminds me of a guy like Geis back when I played. Just compact guy who can move and run through you. So, man, it's good to have him in the lead, and even the guys we have behind him. Feels like we got depth everywhere.
Colin Jeter's our guest, former Tiger tight end, obviously, and director of development with the Alumni Association. Currently, he's going to be with us every single Tuesday at the top of the second hour. I'm curious your thoughts on this week because you have this huge opener, Clemson, national TV, night game, packed stadium. You come back home, and it's the first home game, so there's some juice to that, but you're playing Louisiana Tech. Like, what is that like mentally for a player to go week to week with that big a disparity in the level of competition?
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic trap game. That's what they say, huh? You know, you win a huge run on the road, emotional game. You break the streak, you do all this. Now you got all of America is on your side. They're talking about putting you in number 1, number 2, anywhere in the top 5. You got to find a way to refocus. And I like what they did today. I saw a picture of the team room had they didn't even put the Clemson win up on the board. They just went straight to Louisiana Tech. So that focus of going 1-0 each week, locking back in, you know, it starts really on Monday. You do your Monday prep, watch the film. Tuesday is kind of your first day back in full pads, getting at it. It's just getting refocused. I think Louisiana Tech's, of course, you know, and they're not Clemson, but they're not going to be a team you should certainly just skip on the schedule. So to be able to get in there, do what you're supposed to do, and then kind of get lined up. I mean, it's also the first home game to me. So as a player, I would think you'd be fired up for that one too. So
I think you're going to see a pretty inspired team because of that. The vibes are just so good when you do that to start a season. I talk to Brandon Taylor every week, and he references the Oregon game that they won in 2011 all the time, and how it just became a spur for that team to kind of move forward. You've been on good teams that had great starts as well, and you've been around this team. Like, what are the vibes like around LSU football right now?
You know what I love the most about this team? Just from outside looking in, and that's through the social media, from being kind of just in the building, this team just feels like they gel. And those teams that really excel and go long places, I think that's what those teams have. They're just got the camaraderie. Seems like on both sides of the ball, they're mixing together well. It's just got that feel to it that they're a close-knit group. And I think that's probably the biggest factor going into this year. If you can have a team like that gels and continue to play like they did last Saturday night, I think we got a good season coming ahead of us.
That's the hope. It certainly looks really good on Saturday night. We'll see LSU and Louisiana Tech 6:30 kickoff on Saturday. I know a lot of folks listening, alums, business owners. Tell them how they can get involved with the Alumni Association and what y'all got going on over there.
We'll get in touch with us. I mean, that's our goal. As I said earlier, we want to connect Tiger businesses with each other. We want to be able to allow those businesses to take advantage of the 100,000 plus network we have. A great way to reach us to start is to go on our website, lsualumni.org/business network. It's a great place to see kind of the basics of it, and then get in touch with me, my team. I've worked with Lauren Giffen. She's a great leader in that department. We'll both be in touch. I believe our contact information's online. So reach out to us. We'd be glad to kind of get you in the loop. We did a great initial networking event last week. We did it at Pro Dreams. Trey Ledbetter, his business, he was excited to get involved. We had a big networking event. We had about 100, 150 people there that were all excited about LSU football and, more importantly, excited about working with each other. So it's a great place to get to meet people in any sort of industry you want to be in. I think we were able to provide resources for that.
I'm fired up for lunch next Friday. We'll be there for LSU and Florida. Should be an awesome time over there at Lod Cook. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to our conversation every week. Thanks for coming in, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. I could talk football all day.
We can do it. It's Colin Jeter, Director of Development over there at the Alumni Association, former Tiger tight end. Going to be with us every single Tuesday. We'll step aside, come back, talk some more LSU football. Brian Kelly met with the media. We'll hear from him when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club, Baton Rouge, brand new here in the capital city. If you are a golfer, no matter your skill level, you're going to love Swing Easy Golf. You can go in there, one of their 3 bays, reserve a tee time, and you can tee up one of the premier courses in the world. I was in there just a couple of weeks ago, played some Cypress Point. It's the finest golf course I've ever played. It's right there on the simulator. It looks just like it. It's incredible. You can go in there, drink cold beer, have a glass of wine, hang out with some friends, play on the golf simulator. It's a great way to play some golf out of the elements. It's 1,000 degrees out there. It rains every single afternoon. Never rains inside Swing Easy Golf Club. So reserve a bay. Go check it out. It's on Seagan near Perkins. You can see the website, swingeasygcbr.com. Swing Easy Golf Club memberships are available, both personal and corporate memberships. Get on by and see them. They're Seagan near Perkins. Swing Easy Golf Club here in Baton Rouge.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook, the Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Tuesday shows brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Property. Looking for that piece of property in Louisiana or Mississippi, Daryl May can help you out with that. Trustee Property is a name you can trust. Thanks, Colin Jeter, for stopping by. He's going to be in studio with us every single Tuesday. Looking forward to those conversations all year long. Colin comes at it from, obviously, a former player's approach, and he's doing great work with the Alumni Association, who we're fortunate to be partnered with here at Guarantee. So going to be a lot of fun to chat with him each and every Tuesday moving forward throughout the football season. Beck, I've got a problem.
Okay.
We did a segment 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where I was going to forecast the starting lineup.
Yes, we actually did that.
Yeah.
Yes, and we have that written down, by the way.
I know. I was not even close. I had two misses. I was trying to make sure that I had. And I intentionally was trying to be conservative.
Yeah, you didn't do average. You didn't do 22.
I did. I thought there were like 14 I felt I knew would be in the starting lineup.
You think you did 12 or 13? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You did 12.
12.
Count.
So that was in. I mean, I was. The point was like, I'm going to make sure that I don't get any wrong.
Yeah.
These are locks to be in the starting
100%.
lineup, save an injury or a suspension. And Ashton Stamps was absolutely in that number.
Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, every day we went out there, it felt like Stamps was one of the first corners. He started all last year. And then, as camp wore on, you started to see some more P.J. Woodland. We talked about that, but I still felt like Stamps would be out there. You're probably going to have 3 corners on the field. Stamps will start. Not only did Ashton Stamps not start, Ashton Stamps did not play a snap on defense on Saturday. And that, to me, was so jarring that I figured there might be some sort of suspension or punishment being levied here. Well, that's not the case, because Matt Moscona asked Brian Kelly today, hey, Stamps didn't play. Why? And this was Brian Kelly's explanation.
We're going to play the guys that, obviously give us the best chance to win. And he's a really good player. There's no doubt. But, when you talk about the rotation right now, the rotation was what we played on Saturday. But Ashton's got to stay ready. He knows that. This is a long season. We have great confidence in him and his ability to go out there and play at a high level for us.
So he just got beat out. P.J. Woodland and DJ Pickett beat him out. I mean, Delane was a constant. He was always going to be one of the top two corners. And he played great. The highest Pro Football Focus grade on the team. Was the player of the game. But opposite him, you saw some rotation, and that rotation stopped on Saturday. And LSU covered really well. I mean, Woodland missed one tackle on the right sideline that led to a sizable Clemson gain. But he's never afraid to stick his nose in there. And DJ Pickett was out there for a significant portion of the game and really wasn't targeted. Like, they never went at him. So you've got now a situation where Ashton Stamps, one of your starters the last 2 years, has been beaten out. And to me, that's a healthy way to have your football team improve. You have guys develop from within. And look, DJ Pickett is not the most physical guy in the world at this point. He's really tall, so he's not filled out. But he's not afraid. And he can go out there and mix it up a little bit. And he did. Woodland's undersized. But he's not afraid. And then Delane played great. I thought Ashton Stamps, over the course of the first 3 weeks of camp, was really good. I've talked about this a lot now, so it's a little bit of a repeating myself. But for 2 years, we went out to practice, and LSU didn't cover anybody in all of August. It was just Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Kyron Lacey, Aaron Anderson, Kyle Parker, like just running sprints. Basically looked like they were working on air. 1-on-1, 7-on-7s. It was just pitch and catch. And that was not the case this August. And Ashton Stamps was a part of that. But obviously, Corey Raymond determined these are the guys. And here's the deal. I have implicit trust in Corey Raymond as a recruiter, as a developer. The narrative got tossed around that Corey Raymond, at the end of his stay in Baton Rouge, which ended in 2021, was losing a step. And I kind of balked at that. I thought it was ridiculous, but that was the narrative. And he doesn't get retained here at LSU. He ends up going to Florida. A lot of LSU fans go, guy wasn't recruiting at the end anyway. DBU was slipping off. Who cares? Good riddance. And I was sitting here going, you sure about that? You sure this guy forgot how to recruit corners and develop corners? We just watched him do it for a decade. You think he just forgot how to do that? I don't think so. And LSU, when he left, slipped badly at corner. Badly. LSU in the defensive backfield the last 2 years, really the last 3 years, has not even been close to the standard that was upheld here the entirety of Corey Raymond's first run as cornerback coach and defensive back coach. And the second they brought him back from Gainesville, I got on this microphone and I went, this is going to turn around. He's going to do it. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, in his first full cycle back at LSU, DJ Pickett's at LSU. And in his first game, DJ Pickett is out there playing against Clemson on the road. In his first game, DJ Pickett is getting the reps in front of a 2-year returning starter in Ashton Stamps. P.J. Woodland got to LSU at 160 pounds. Probably not ready for the primetime lights in Las Vegas. But he had to go out there anyway because LSU didn't have the talent. Well, now he's been under the tutelage of Corey Raymond for a year and a half, and now he's ready to go out there and play well against Clemson. Need I remind you, on Saturday night, Cade Klubnik had a 50% completion percentage. 50%. DBU is coming back. And Corey Raymond is the author of that, and there's a renaissance coming, and he's the author of that as well. This is going to transform the way Blake Baker can play defense. I'm not telling you that LSU is just going to be a complete no-fly zone for every quarterback on the schedule from now to Christmas. What I'm telling you is they can put up a fight now. They can play man-to-man coverage now. And that opens up what Blake Baker can do with his front seven as far as creating pressure. And that transforms the way you can play defense. If you go back and watch Clemson's last 2 drives, LSU is not sitting back in prevent trying to make sure that Clemson doesn't hit a big play. They were bringing 5 guys every single snap because Baker trusts that his guys in the back end are going to be able to be sticky. And they didn't allow a lot of chunk plays for Clemson. There were a couple, but not 60, 70, 80-yard plays, just 26 here. Klubnik gets out, scrambles, hits a guy. They ran the pick play on the 4th down and got a big play. It wasn't perfect, but it was really good. And I think Ashton Stamps can help. And I think he will help. That's called depth. LSU didn't even have starting caliber players the last couple of years. Now they've got depth. This was always going to happen when they brought Corey Raymond back. And I think one of the things that is not talked about from the game on Saturday is just how well LSU covered. Delane's gotten a lot of pub, and rightfully so. He played great. But you also had P.J. Woodland getting up in there and making a play on the ball. You had a pass breakup by A.J. Halsey on a crucial play. And now all of a sudden you're turning Harold Perkins loose. You're turning Whit Weeks loose. Woodland comes on a corner blitz that got a sack. You can be more creative when you can cover. That's what Saban's early defenses were built on here in Baton Rouge. When he had Corey Webster and Travis Daniels out there on the edge, then you can start turning some guys loose. They did, and they were really good. This defense has the makings of some of that after 1 week. Again, I'm not ready to put this defense in there with 03 and 11 just yet. They played 4 quarters. But some of the traits that they have are familiar. And for Ashton Stamps to have just gotten beaten out by younger players suggests that that talent is coming. And Corey Raymond knows how to cultivate it and develop it. And that's a big, big positive for LSU's football program moving forward. This staff is good, y'all. And they're going to put together good football teams. They've got one this year. And part of that is a secondary that is revamped and ready to rock. I'm fired up about it. That's your look at some LSU. If you're looking for LSU content, Hunt on LSU is where you can find it. Wherever you find your podcast, certainly on YouTube as well, Hunt on LSU. Step aside when we come back. Sharief, Aishak talking Saints as they get ready for their opener on Sunday. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Daryl May of Trusty Properties. If you're looking for hunting property, something you've always dreamed of having, you always had to use somebody else's land or hope somebody would invite you out, but you always thought, one day I'm going to have a property. You probably know where that's going to be. Maybe it's in the Felicianas. Maybe it's up in Mississippi. But you always wanted to make that dream a reality. Well, do it. Just do it. Call Daryl May. I'm going to give you a cell phone number. It's pretty easy. 225-268-6915. 225-268-6915. Call him. Say, hey, Daryl, I'm looking for land. He's the guy. He's really excited about what they've got going on in Pass Christian right now. They've got property there that he's looking to help on the sale of. If you've always thought of having some property in Pass Christian as a vacation home, call Daryl. He's licensed in Louisiana and Mississippi. He can help you out. It's just a quick drive over across the border. He's with Trusty Properties, licensed in Louisiana, licensed in Mississippi, looking for land. Call Daryl May of Trusty Properties. That's a name you can trust.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Chugging along here on a Tuesday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. First day in the office for a lot of folks out there after Labor Day holiday. Short week. LSU and Louisiana Tech, Saturday night, 6:30. Saints cranking up their season in the Dome, noon against the Cardinals. Coming up on Sunday, Sharief Aishak likely to be there, I would imagine. We'll talk to him as we do every single Tuesday on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sharief, how we doing?
Streak is over. Brian Kelly cooked Dabo Sweeney on the field and off the field today. Life is great.
It's been good. So let's talk about the Saints. What are the vibes in the city right now about this football team and about the game coming up on Sunday?
It almost feels like that. I to be honest with you, man, I don't know if people like just feel like there's no game. I mean, it's not that usual buzz that we were all so used to for so many years, man. I remember I'll be honest with you as well. I remember being so excited to cover seasons whenever Drew and Sean were here, and I'm like, man, let's just get it over with. I can't believe I'm saying that, and let's just get it over with because we know it's a rebuild, and it's going to take a couple years. It kind of feels like that. The vibe kind of just feels like that. Everyone knows what's possibly coming. I mean, they are one of those teams that no one knows how they're going to play on the field, but it feels like they know how many losses they're going to have this year. So that's how I'd answer it for you in a nutshell.
How do you think the energy will be in the Dome on Sunday before kickoff?
Dude, I think, man, look, I looked at Scott Kushner's tweet a second ago, They said there's still like 10,000 tickets available in the secondhand market. For a home game to start off the season, that's not great. Now, I understand if they would have started the games like in Seattle and Buffalo and they would have gone 0-2, and you're like 15,000 tickets are still available, then I'd understand. But 10,000 for your first game and it's at home, it's a little skeptical to me, a little skeptical.
All right, let's talk about what we'll see on the field. Do you expect the offense to look different than it did in the preseason based on the fact that these games actually count and you're going to have your full complement of starters on the field, and some of them didn't participate in training in the preseason?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I kind of think that Kellen Moore is going to build this offense around Spencer Rattler's skill set, strengths, and whatever he does well in order to kind of help him facilitate the offense, kind of avoid some of the mistakes. And then you have Alvin, and let's see if the entire offensive line plays. I know that Trevor Penning's out of the boot. Let's see if he's ready to go Sunday. But, yeah, I expect it to look much different. Sometimes when you have some veterans on the team, and look, man, mentally some guys just – it's hard to get up for these preseason games. Yep. It really is. I mean, the practices, different joint practices, I felt like they looked good in certain portions against the Rams, but like some of these preseason games are like, man, let's get this over with. So, yes, I do expect the game plan to look different. I expect Kellen Moore to open it up a little bit more. I do expect to see Spencer Rattler look fairly sharp for the most part, in my opinion. I do think that the guys are going to rally around him, and I think they're building the offense to his strengths. And I think you've got the pieces there to make something happen, at least to create some kind of sparks.
What's your confidence level in the running game?
It's, I do think that, like, with Alvin in the lineup, like we just talked about, it's so much different. I do think it's going to be different. I think that, with a healthy offensive line and Alvin, even Kendre Miller showed a lot of flashes during his preseason. I think he turned a lot of negatives into short positives, and when the offensive line that wasn't playing the second string and third string. So I think with the starting offensive line with Kendre and Alvin, I think the possibilities are there to be a much improved rushing attack. And I think that's one area that we're all going to look at, because if the running game is working, Spencer Rattler is going to be much more comfortable back there.
Defensively, what do you see as the strength of the Saints?
It's a tough one. I'm going to go with I know this is the one group that really needs to step up, and I'm going to just go ahead and say that I think the defensive line is going to be a little bit more improved this year. I think Chase Young being healthy, he's dealing with issues last year, didn't really have a full camp. I think Carl, was ascending last year. And then when Chase eventually did play last year, Hunt, the pressures and QB hits get better toward the end of the season. So I'm going to give that side of the ball, that part of the defense, probably the best part of the defense. I truly think that they're going to see some hits and quarterback hurries and sacks go up this year compared to last year.
The narrative with the Dennis Allen defense is that they couldn't stop a mobile quarterback, and here comes Kyler Murray, and he's pretty mobile. Do you feel like that carries over with a new defensive staff, or do you feel like we can kind of put that narrative to bed?
No, I got to see it first. Okay. I have to see them. I'm not putting anything to bed when it comes to mobile quarterbacks. I feel like that's been a thorn in their side since Sean Payton's been here. Yep. That's just something that, like, they just cannot contain. You have to have speed for that, Hunt. You truly have to have some really athletic linebackers and healthy linebackers to contain those mobile quarterbacks. And you have to have the edge rushers there who can drop back and actually contain them, which gives me hope in Brandon Staley's system, the 3-4 system, and some of the guys he has, like Carl and Chase and some of the other players who are able to drop back. And they're fast guys. They truly are fast. They slimmed down. They got healthier. They got quicker. They got better. So I think that puts them in a good spot, but I'm not ready to declare anything when it comes to mobile quarterbacks. They have to show me, not in just one game, they have to show me in like at least a season or two that they can at least fathom or at least be able to contain these type of quarterbacks, because that's what the league has gotten to, these type of dual threat quarterbacks. If they can't do it, it's going to be a long season. But like I think they're trending in the right direction. Let's just say that. I can't give you a definitive answer right now.
Kool-Aid McKinstry is kind of a star of early training camp. Do you feel like it's a breakout year for him?
I think he didn't play much last year, so it needs to be a much better season for him now that he's a full go, he's full healthy. I truly think he has the chance to be a superstar in this league. I remember when he got drafted, Hunt, and Nick Saban said that he has a chance. I'm kind of paraphrasing that it could be the best defensive back he's ever coached, and that's high praise. I'm paraphrasing what he said. So, and I think Saban is on to something. I truly believe that, like, in years' time, and not maybe this year, maybe next year, that you see that he takes that huge step in his game. But I expect him to be very solid this year, and he builds upon it after this year, going into the next year, even in his fourth year. So I like him a lot. I think he is that star on the defense when it comes to the young players.
Saints are nearly a touchdown underdog on their home field against a team that is not predicted to be a great one in the Cardinals. How do you think it goes on Sunday in the Dome?
I think they keep it close for a little bit, but I don't know, man. Once again, to the first question, they're such an enigma. I just don't know with this team. I don't know what they're going to look like. They're one of those teams that you're like, I don't know. Maybe they're better than what we think they are, or maybe they're going to be just as bad as we say they are. I'm going to say they keep it close, but I think they lose it by 4 to 6 points.
All right, we shall see. You going to be in the Dome on Sunday?
I'm paid to, so I'll be there. Obligation.
You got a record prediction for the season before they kick it off?
Yeah. I did it in Jeff Duncan's column. I gave them a 5-12.
And one of those 5 does not come this weekend against the Cardinals at home?
No, I don't think so. I think they start picking up wins like middle end of the season whenever things start they start picking up momentum, a little bit of momentum, and just kind of gather like how to play under this new coaching staff, and they kind of get used to each other. But once again, I also base this upon health. They're healthy maybe 6 games.
No. All right, we'll see what happens. We'll talk about it next week either way. Thanks, Sharief.
Anytime, Hunt.
Sharief Aishak, WDSU down in New Orleans, covering the black and gold. He's with us every Tuesday show. Brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. Daryl represents a builder and developer that's got homes in Pass Christian, Mississippi, as well as luxury condos in Bay St. Louis. If you're looking for a spot on the coast, Daryl May can help you out with that, Louisiana or Mississippi. Licensed in both. He's right there with Trusty Properties. It's a name you can trust. All right, we'll step aside. When we come back, we will close it out. Little take it or leave it.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. The convenience factor is just amazing at Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can start your shopping process online. The entire inventory is right there. You can look at pictures and all the features at every vehicle, and you can also see pricing for those vehicles. If you see something there that you might want to get behind the wheel of, they'll come to you. It's across town. You just don't think you have time to get over to Carolina PQ. No worries. They'll come to you. Get one of their brand ambassadors, get behind the wheel with you, and drive you around. If you decide, hey, this is something that I'd like to purchase, you still don't have to go to the dealership. They can do e-contracts. They deliver your vehicle right to you. And then once you purchase that vehicle, you don't have to go take it in for maintenance either. And it's complimentary for 3 years. Complimentary scheduled maintenance, so you can deal with those pesky oil changes, pesky air filter changes, dealing with the wiper fluid, all that kind of stuff. They do it complimentary for 3 years, and it's valet. They come to you, they get the vehicle, bring it back when it's done. It's just all convenience. So much convenience there at Genesis of Baton Rouge, just part of the model. So go by and see them, airline at PQ, or have them come to you. Either way, it's GenesisofBatonRouge.com, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wildin'.
There it is, the extra mile. on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Your Fighting Tigers of LSU return home Saturday when they face the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. It all gets started with Eagle 98.1 Game Day with Charles Hannegriff and Matt Musso at 1:30 p.m. live from Rouse's on Burbank, and wraps up with Eagle 98.1 Game Day postgame 90 minutes after the end of the game. It's presented by Super Chevy and Yingling. Hear it on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and watch it live on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel.
A lot of connective tissue between LSU and Louisiana Tech. Of course, Joe Sloan was there for a long time. Blake Baker been on staff at Louisiana Tech as well. Got Tim Rattay on LSU staff now, who's the best quarterback outside of Terry Bradshaw, I guess, in Louisiana Tech history. So a lot of connective tissue there for the game on Saturday. Shouldn't be an overly competitive game, but some interesting storylines from that perspective. I talked about this a little bit earlier in the show, but I'm very excited for Saturday. I'm excited to go into the stadium stress-free, watch the team play with a win in your back pocket. It's just been such a bummer to go out there in the 100-degree heat the last few Septembers and watch a team that has already lost a game. It's just in this sport where losses are penalized so significantly, to have one right out of the chute is just a tough way to go about things. So that's not the case this time around. We can just go in and celebrate this team, watch them get a win, and then we'll ramp things back up from an intensity perspective with LSU and Florida next week, which is a monster game for both of those programs. Florida won by 1,000 against Long Island this weekend, and they'll beat South Florida coming up this week, and then we'll see what those two teams look like under the lights at Tiger Stadium a week from Saturday. But for this weekend, home opener, should be a lot of fun. I also don't know who my assistant coach interview of the week is. I'm going to have to check in on that for the pregame show. I had Frank Wilson last week. See who it is this coming week. We'll usually have that conversation on Fridays. So just an aside there. Got any take it or leave it back?
Yeah, sure.
Great to hear.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Cooking up some Sagrera Farms burgers last night on the grill and had a couple of Flight by Yinglings. Is that how you would say that? Flights This is what I would say. Very tasty, built for these hot Louisiana summers. Looking for a light beer that's refreshing. And on the light side, 95 calories, 2.6 carbs. It's Flight by Yingling in those slim cans. Find one wherever you pick up your beer around the corner from the house. Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
Alrighty, first one here. AP poll released today because of the Bill Belichick thrashing, by the way, last night.
Yeah.
That you did say that you thought UNC was going to win that game. You didn't know anything about either team.
That's correct.
But it was really bad. Shout out to Max Johnson, though, getting on the field, throwing a touchdown to his brother. That was cool to see.
God, those two guys are still playing.
Yep, still playing. And by the way, also, how about we have the next Taker League will also be revolving around a guy that's still playing in the same mold as Max Johnson. But
Max
first,
and tight end
Jake.
brother named Jake.
Yep. But go ahead and see LSU here at number 3 in the AP poll. They also got 3 votes for first place, which is interesting as well. But LSU at number 3, take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
They play. I told you, I thought it was the win of the weekend. I know that Texas, Ohio State beat the number 1 team in the country. It was on their home field. I thought LSU going on the road and getting that done against the team that had the most returning production back in all of college football was the win of the weekend. And don't have a lot of sample size to go off of. LSU's is pretty strong. So I'm guessing Ohio State and Penn State ahead of LSU. Is that
that's correct?
Yeah. So yeah, I think it seems fine right now.
All right, next one here. As I was mentioning, Max Johnson still playing football. Former LSU Tiger TJ Finley still playing football. He was at Tulane. That was his 5th stop. He's on the move again, Hunt. He is headed to Georgia State. This will be his 6th school in his college football career. TJ Finley playing at his 6th school, Georgia State. Take it or leave it.
I guess I got to take it. The guy
I'll take it.
He's seen it all. I think we go LSU, Texas State, Auburn, Western Kentucky, Tulane.
Yep,
that's
right?
it. I'm up on my TJ Finley whereabouts.
You
what can
got
I
it.
say? I got it all figured out. Ponchatoula's finest. Strawberries and 6-year quarterbacks. Look, go get it. That's I don't know if there's much NIL money to be had at Georgia State. Maybe there is some. I don't know. They beat Vandy last year.
They did.
But maybe you can use the same locker Chipper Jones once used. Maybe that's the sell for Georgia State. Turner Field.
Yeah, Turner Field. A really tough place to play in college football, Hunt.
I saw the Cubs play in Turner Field once. 1-0. Cubs won, I believe it was 2-0 was the final score of that game.
Speaking of Turner Field, the Cubs got the Braves tonight. 5.5 games behind the Brewers.
Yes.
I asked you this last week, but still have a chance in the division. Take it or leave it.
I will leave that. You start to do the math on that, it gets real difficult.
They got about 20-something games left. 5.5 games.
You can't go 27-0.
You don't have to. The Brewers are going to lose.
Brewers rarely lose. But the Cubs did come back from 6-1 down yesterday.
They did.
I was running while listening to that. Heard a big strikeout, get a big fist pump on the run, and then Myersman enjoyed singing "Go Cubs Go" after we had the walk-off win.
Stuff.
So that's quality stuff in the Palmer House yesterday evening.
All right, last one here. We got some tennis tonight. U.S. Open. Taylor Fritz, the last American still in the men's bracket, taking on Novak Djokovic tonight at 7:30. You'll be watching. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. Cubbies have a game tonight, so that's going to preclude.
You could have it on. You could have it on the phone. Maybe,
I'm told
or
the
TV.
scouting report on this Fritz guy, the American, is that he's very good against the common man.
Yeah,
Then he plays the stars and never wins.
Well, he's a really good server, and whenever he goes up against somebody that can actually return his serve, that's an issue because he's kind of like he's not the same type of player as John Isner. He's not as big. He can actually move a little bit. But the thing is that he pretty much almost always ends up going to a tie break because no one can break his serve, but he can't break their serve. But whenever he goes up against somebody like Novak Djokovic who can break his serve, it becomes a problem because he can't break his serve.
Trivia question: who did John Isner play against in the marathon match that took 3 days?
Mahout.
Nicholas Mahout. That's correct. I remember watching that. I was in my sports writing days then, so I wasn't doing an office job. I was at home, and I remember watching that match over the course of 3 different days.
Yep, they changed the rules because of that match. Yeah. Now the tiebreak cannot go forever as it did when that happened.
Isner and Mahout, 5-setter at Wimbledon, 3 days. All right, that's it for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. When Daryl's not helping out with land, big properties and farms. He's also helping you out with condos and vacation homes in Pass Christian or Bay St. Louis. Reach out to Daryl May at Trusty Properties if you'd like some hunting property, like some agriculture property, like a secondary home, or a place in Pass Christian or Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. He can help you out with all of it. Trusty Properties, a name you can trust. Thanks to Daryl for bringing you our Tuesday shows each and every week. You missed any of today's show? Catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Our full shows are always archived wherever you find your podcast, of course, on YouTube as well. You can find our LSU content at Hunt on LSU, and you can find our Saint content on Hunt on Saints. Those are available wherever you find your podcast as well, YouTube channel. So subscribe up if you would. Open the show today. I'm talking about Dabo, Sweeney, and Brian Kelly going back and forth about grades over the weekend. I don't necessarily think it's too big a story, but I'm confident the internet will catch on to it and it'll spread like wildfire because that's what the internet generally does. I gave my thoughts at the top of the show. Also talked about LSU's offensive line as far as its Pro Football Focus grades and what we saw from that group against a good Clemson front back on Saturday. Glen West, good enough to give us a little bit of time, had our first conversation with Colin Jeter at 2 o'clock, former LSU tight end who's now Director of Development at the LSU Alumni Association. Is going to be with us every single Tuesday. Talk some Saints with Sharief Aishak as well. So find that on demand wherever you find your sound. That's it for us. Matt's going to drive you home on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow. We'll have J.D. Piquel and go through some power rankings on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient. And the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater.